The lip reader episode started from an idea that I had had about if one had a friend who was deaf, what a great instrument that would be in terms of that person being able to read people's lips and tell you what was going on. So I came into that season, which was my first season, saying that I thought that would be a good George idea. And I remember Larry and Jerry immediately liking it and thinking that that would be a great episode.
Well, there was a scene written about discussing whether or not we could get the lip reader to do the lip reading while she's sitting at the table. And what was just glorious fun about that is it was written as we kind of turn away from it and go, hey, what about this, what about that, what about this, what about that? But Jerry and I decided we were going to try to find, 5 or 6 organic things that would naturally hide your mouth from the person across the table. I just had a great idea. She could come to the party tomorrow and read Gwen's lips for me.
What?
We bring her to the party, and she tells me what Gwen is saying about me.
She's not a novelty act, George, that you hire out for weddings and bar mitzvahs.
Look, it's a skill, just like juggling. She probably enjoys showing it off.
I don't know, George. I'm not sure about this.
Would you ask her? Just ask her. She says no, case closed.
All right. Laura, George was wondering if...
Sure, I'll do it.
So Marlee Matlin being on our show was a big deal because she had won an Oscar for Children of a Lesser God, and there she was, and she was unbelievably nice, and all the guys were in love with her. And I just remember how good she was, and also how good she was at doing comedy.
Bingo!
Marlee Matlin was a terrific actress. As I recall, she mooned the crew. She seemed to have a lot of fun.
We did this episode where a yogurt was discovered to have fat in it when it was advertised as non-fat, which actually just happened in New York this past summer. A yogurt place, a yogurt chain in Manhattan was shut down for this very same thing.
Oh, really? Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye. Well, the yogurt verdict is in. Fat!
I don't know why we thought it would be funny for the mayor to come out and make some announcement, but we didn't know who was going to win the election, and it landed right as we were shooting it, so we had to get the same performance from David Dinkins and Rudy Giuliani and use whichever one won the election.
We had to shoot 2 versions.
Oh, God, look who's here.
Who is it?
This guy from my old neighborhood, Lloyd Braun. He's some big advisor for, what's his name, was running for mayor.
Rudy Giuliani?
Yeah. Oh, God, look who's here.
Who is it?
This guy from my old neighborhood, Lloyd Braun. He's a big advisor to Mayor Dinkins. He thinks he's so cool.
Giuliani got him an appointment?
You mentioned George's name to Giuliani? You discussed George with possibly the next mayor of New York?
Mayor Dinkins got an appointment for him?
You mentioned George's name to Mayor Dinkins? You discussed George with the mayor of New York?
We needed an interview with the winning candidate, and we were having a little bit of resistance from the Dinkins camp in terms of a commitment as to whether he'd participate at all. Giuliani's camp was in from day one, so we all became Republicans, and we're pushing hard for that to happen.
Lo and behold, Giuliani won. Now, our show is going to be on Thursday night at 9 o'clock. Giuliani won on Tuesday night. On Wednesday morning, they filmed a scene of Giuliani, who agreed to do this, on Wednesday morning, right after election night.
When we got to the victory celebration and got our camera in place, we had to subtly give Mayor Giuliani a tap on the back and remind him again why we were there.
Now this feels more like a press conference. There we go. Sure, it won't be too nice.
He was a big fan of Seinfeld, and he was like, oh yeah, Seinfeld show, yeah, great, oh, okay, and turned around and just like a champ fired it off.
We now take you to Giuliani headquarters, where Rudy Giuliani is about to make a statement.
It's hard to understand because I've been doing everything I normally do. I've been watching my diet very carefully. I exercise regularly. My only indulgence, I guess, would be that I eat a lot of frozen yogurt. But it's non-fat.
Fat yogurt? Oh my God, they got Giuliani and he doesn't even know it.
So we did that on Wednesday morning, and somehow it made it to the air the very next night.
I think we barely got the show in and edited correctly and onto the air in time for that week.
And I believe that Giuliani winning was an upset. So we sort of got lucky. And wasn't that nice of Giuliani to do that?
If Dinkins had won, we had a spokesman do something for Dinkins, who came in and said on behalf of Dinkins.
We got this guy, Phil Morris, who we didn't know.
We now take you to City Hall, where Philip Trout, an aide to Mayor Dinkins, has a statement.
Well, it's hard to understand because the mayor's been doing everything he normally does. He's been watching his diet very carefully. He exercises regularly. His only indulgence that I can see is that he eats a lot of frozen yogurt, but it's non-fat.
Non-fat yogurt? Oh my God, they got the mayor and he doesn't even know it.
Unfortunately for me, fortunately for Rudy, he won the election and I was out. I was out of the episode.
But if Phil Morris or David Dinkins had won, we would have had to use the Phil Morris, and he never would have played Jackie Childs, which is one of our greatest characters, and just through another dumb luck. I mean, if you had the title of how this whole thing happened, you'd have to title it Dumb Luck. That's what we should have called the show instead of Seinfeld, because there was quite a number of things that just happened.
The barber was inspired by a real barber I had in Stamford, Connecticut, who was a very talented barber, and was on the verge of retiring and had been working a very long time and was getting a little shaky and probably knew it. And it was really awkward because my haircuts were getting worse, and I felt this real sense of loyalty to him, but here were these other great barbers doing a great job in this very shop, and I tried to pick a day that I thought Victor wouldn't be there, but he was there. And
Ah, Jerry!
Oh, hi, Enzo.
Oh, you come for the haircut?
No, actually, I was just
It's my day off, but I take care of you anyway because you're my favorite customer. You've been with me for so long. You're so loyal.
Well, if it's your day off, I really don't
what's the difference? It takes 10 minutes.
I got a phone call from Larry David saying, we have this episode, it's the barber episode. And we've got these broad characters, Enzo and Gino, and they're over-dramatic, and the situations are over-dramatic. It's almost like a little opera going on here. What if we went with that? What if, forget the Seinfeld music, let's go with something that might highlight that aspect of this episode.
He's on great, son. Quick, go in there. I'll clean up. Come on up.
The music editor for Seinfeld was Jack Diamond. I turned it over to Jack, who took music from The Barber of Seville, the Rossini opera, and adapted it to this episode.
Who is it?
Enzo Manganiello!
Oh, my God! 1 second!
It was you that was at Gino's apartment the other night!
And it just worked. It clicked, and that's why that episode was a unique music experience for us.